Good morning, afternoon, or evening by the time you see this. But we discussed a little bit yesterday on Facebook. I put a post up saying that I had a bit of a political rant and didn't really feel like going into the nuance of the rant. So I kind of held back from saying what was on my mind. But instantly got feedback to the contrary, that me sharing my thoughts, there's interest in that, and there's interest in that discussion, and I was encouraged to go ahead and share my thoughts, my political thoughts. So here I am, preparing to discuss my political thoughts. And it's a little bit all over the place because it's not like this is a prepared thing. I just had some thoughts, and I was reading some stuff yesterday that kind of started a mental exercise, and here we are. So we are in a position now politically at the presidential level where, even more so than local politics, we are dangerously close to a canon event. Something that is going to potentially drastically change the landscape of American politics and our understanding of what government's responsibility is for the people. It's kind of hyperbolic, I know, but we are at the precipice of a potential second Trump presidency with a already politicized Supreme Court that, should Trump win, will have the opportunity to seed with very young people with lifetime appointments that have his agenda at mind. Now, Trump is a nationalist. He is a accused sexist, racist, and general crook, given by the large number of cases pending, resolved, or currently being debated. And he has the opportunity, should he be elected, to tell two of the older Supreme Court justices that are clearly on his side, Clarence Thomas and Alito, he could tell them to step down. He could convince them, bribe them, or do something to them to get them out of the Supreme Court and give him two seats that he could then replace those individuals with 35-year-olds that have the same MAGA conservative views. Now, that is terrifying to me on a couple of fronts. We've already seen women's rights be attacked. Voting Rights Act has been discussed. We've already seen gerrymandered maps overturned by the Supreme Court and protected as not being decidedly racist. What harm could be done to our democracy and to all of our people if we allow Trump back into office by virtue of the Supreme Court changing our interpretation or the understanding of the Constitution and civil rights? What other things could change by allowing a Trump administration to potentially add to the Supreme Court? It's a terrifying prospect. And it's frustrating to me because people like to frame our political system as two sides of the same coin. But I don't understand where there's even a hint of a reduction of civil rights, threats to minorities from the Democrats. Obviously, there are some fiduciary differences between the two parties. There's a more liberal economic policy by Biden, whereas the government's job is to help support the people, raise taxes, use those funds to provide for education and infrastructure, healthcare, childcare, universal basic income, stuff like that. Why does that bother people so much? Why does the idea of being taxed for the common good hurt people's feelings so much? And it got me to thinking about the people that take advantage of these federal benefits the most, and it led me down a rabbit hole of doing some research, looking at some Pew studies and some labor reports and all those kind of good things. And the demographic that uses the vast majority of social safety net policies and economic assistance are the same people that vehemently oppose government assistance. The overwhelming majority of people that take advantage of Section 8 and food stamps and all of that stuff come from decidedly red states. What in the Republican mind allows them to oppose things that benefit them simply to spite people that they view as lesser than? How does that work? What disconnect is there in their minds that if this sucks for me, it's okay as long as it sucks for them more? How do you build an entire identity politically around that idea? Money is made up. Our financial system is made up. It really is. The rules change constantly. The value of things changes constantly. But yet still, we have people that believe that using government to support its constituents, the people that give the government power, is worse than allowing individuals to survive or die on their own merit. I don't understand. I can't wrap my mind around it. And you have a potential president who has already exhibited a willingness to remove regulations in the interest of private corporations and boosting individuals' ability to earn money, removing barriers to growth and development for businesses, regardless of the repercussions. All the EPA stuff that was rolled back, the pipeline discussions that happened, and the granting of more land in Alaska for oil drilling, and all of that kind of stuff. Doesn't care about climate change, doesn't care about anything else, only about people being able to make money. The repercussions of removing regulation and allowing people to move unchecked will create business opportunities. It absolutely will. But the fallout from that, the exchange, is not even comparable. And I don't understand how people can look at President Biden and VP Harris and the things that they've done outside of the missteps with Israel, but that is a long-standing U.S. problem. We don't know how to handle Israel correctly. We don't know how to handle the Middle East. We just have no idea how to deal with that area. So we end up being neutral, a lot of saber rattling, or we've fallen into a situation where sunken cost fallacy of protecting Israel and our interactions there have handcuffed us politically. But outside of those things, I don't understand how you can look at the potential future under Trump compared to the potential future under the Biden-Harris rerun. I don't understand how those can be compared, and you could come out of the other side of that comparison and say that they're both equally as bad. I don't understand it. I think it's disingenuous. I think it is outright lying to yourself. If you could look at our current economic situation, our current civil situation, our current societal structure, and say that getting rid of President Biden and replacing him with President Trump would improve things, or keeping President Biden is just as bad. I don't understand. If you are a person that has ever been a minority, whether it be by race, gender, economic status, immigration status, whatever, Trump quite literally does not care about you. He doesn't. And I see so many people, Muslims for Trump, Latinos for Trump, blacks for Trump, and I can't help but think of the They Came For poem. Because all of these people are saying that Trump will do better for America for whatever reason. That's entirely delusional to me. But yeah, he's only coming after the gays, or he's only going after transgenders, or he's only trying to protect women from competing against men, or he's only trying to protect the U.S. from immigrants. Okay, so after he takes care of the immigrants, and after he takes care of LGBTQ, where does he set his sights next? If you're not a white male, you are on the menu. And I think back to how Hillary Clinton failed at winning the presidency. And there were missteps by her campaign, absolutely. But there's nothing that woman said about how things would go that did not come true. Everything she said about Trump has been proven true. Everything that she was accused of doing wrong, Trump did worse. And I can't help but think that the poison of voting against your own interests, cutting off your nose to spite your face, will be the downfall of our democracy. People willing to sacrifice something that would benefit them to spite another group will be the reason why our representative democracy as it stands will cease to exist. I don't understand it. Can somebody explain to me how or why people are willing to do that? I've seen comedians joke about it all the time. I've seen political stuff talk about, well, if you give a white man somebody to talk down about, they'll, somebody to feel better than, they will do whatever you tell them, even if they're in the same situation as that other person, or if their situation will worsen. The voter bloc that has swung the last few elections has been white women. The same women that are losing their own rights to their bodily autonomy voted for those things on purpose. I don't understand. I can't wrap my head around taking an ideology that has moved to the extreme embracing that, putting your hand in a ballot box that's going to cut you going in and cut you going out, and knowing that it's going to cut you. It's stupid to me. Not the people themselves. Maybe they are. Doing some more studying about intellect and intelligence and all of that stuff, and starting to get into some studies about how adult literacy is so low and all of that. And I start thinking about how we've gotten into this political environment, and I realize that misinformation or misinforming people is so easy because so many people are unintelligent. They lack the ability to use logic or to detect nuance or to discuss things at a depth greater than surface level, because they have a very low vocabulary literacy